So day 3 of practice, and Tony Kanaan led a very hectic day 3 of practice that started off with a bang and ended kind of with a murmur. But starting off the day, Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing had tried to do a photo shoot where you had all 3 cars lining up like 3x3 or whatever, going across the start-finish line. Penske had done the same thing on day 1. I think I had a video in there, and I'll have a video up here. In the background, it was kind of a skirmish trying to not get close to him, not hit him, you know, like just stay out of the picture quick, like move out of the way, like all that type stuff. Simona De Silvestro and Scott McLaughlin were the 2 guys behind him, or behind the 3 Rahal cars, and they had both checked up, and McLaughlin had went high out of turn 4, and then Colton Herta, who must have not heard something from a spotter or something or whatever, came up and had basically nowhere to go because he was coming out for an outlap full rip or whatever. He was wanting to go straight out and like get a 200-mile-an-hour lap in, and he got squeezed up into the inside wall by McLaughlin, and I think he grazed both McLaughlin and the wall, and they had to throw a yellow for that immediately. So you got literally 30 seconds into the session and had a yellow. Indy, I don't know. It was definitely a weird first 30 seconds to a minute, and when I first had started like paying attention to what was going on when it first started, I just had the timing thing pulled up, so I was sitting here like, what the heck, why did we get a yellow immediately? So it's very interesting for me to try to figure out what happened. Another thing that happened was Santino Ferrucci, with about an hour and a half left in the session, had crashed. There was quite a big pack forming up. There was 10 or 15, maybe even 20 cars at some point, lined up, you know, one by one. Occasionally they'd get side by side or whatever into a corner. And Connor Daly, who was right behind Ferrucci, had said for about the last 2 laps before that, Ferrucci had looked twitchy, and Daly felt like he was kind of getting twitchy too. He was kind of wanting to go off the track or whatever and just go back to the pits. But eventually, Ferrucci ended up spinning it in turn 2. He just lost the rear end, and the car just flipped around on him and went straight into the wall. So quite a bit of left side damage for that team, and they immediately went back and started working on that. So that'll be something for Rahal to fix. And not only that, actually, this kind of came in just a couple of minutes ago as the session was ending. Rahal, for that team photo thing or whatever, is getting docked 30 minutes of testing or practice time at the beginning of Fast Friday tomorrow because of that little stunt. IndyCar did not like it. They didn't tell anyone they were doing it, and they didn't do it in a safe way. I don't know. IndyCar did not like that, and I think a lot of people I'd seen on Twitter or whatever did not like it either. I think, personally, that Rahal was just stupid for doing that, but, you know, I guess they did it to themselves. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and 30 minutes of... I stole that line from Kyle Cuthbertson, I'm sorry. Anyways, so getting on to the actual times that happened today, we had Tony Kanaan leading off everyone in times. He had a speed of 2:25.341. Second, a big story from the past 3 days, really, Connor Daly, 2:25.245. He's doing very well. He's been top 5 in practice all 3 days, including the last 2 days in second. So very good set of days for Connor Daly. And that wasn't a like garbage time. That wasn't like he set that in the last 15 minutes. He set that at like that time at like 2 or 2:30 or something. He set that at a pretty decent time when it was pretty hot. So Daly's no fluke this year, I don't think. Third, Santino Ferrucci, the guy who crashed. So definitely a weird day for not only Rahal, but Santino Ferrucci. I mean, he had that thing at the start, got docked 30 minutes of practice tomorrow for that, set the 3rd fastest lap, which at that time was the 2nd fastest lap, and then crashed like an hour later. It'd be a weird day to be Santino Ferrucci. 4th place, Joseph Newgarden at a 2:24.885, which is much better than how he did yesterday. He was 30th yesterday and up to 4th. That's good. And as he seemingly always is. Pretty consistent at Indy. Scott Dixon with a 224.666. Let's go ahead and look at the no-toe times. Actually, a thing I'm going to start doing today is looking at the full report of no-toe times just because of qualifying or whatever. There were a lot of teams running quali sims. So here's how those kind of went. Jack Harvey, actually, with the Andretti affiliation or whatever, was the fastest on the day in the no-toe time chart list thing. I said like the same thing 4 times. 222.090. Very good day for him. Also up there, Simon Pagenaud in second with a 221.659. Third, Alexander Rossi with a 221.606. Fourth, Will Power with a 221.575. Sixth, Joseph Newgarden, 221.417. And or did I say sixth? Fifth, Joseph Newgarden with a 221.417. And sixth, Ed Carpenter with a 221.195. The usual suspects up here. You've got Pagenaud, Rossi, Power, Newgarden, Carpenter. In the no-toe times list, these are the type of guys you'd expect to be in the Fast 9 running for pole. The surprise for me is Harvey. I mean, Harvey's been much better than this year. He was good at Texas. He's always good at the Indy road course. But it was just interesting for me to see Harvey performing that well in the no-toe chart. Castro Neves, I think, in the regular speeds was up in like 8th or 9th or something. So it looks like Meyer Shank is going to be competing, at least in some level, for, like, on race day. I mean, not only do they have the alliance with Andretti, but they also have, I mean, they've got Helio Castroneves. So looking at the other end of the chart here, we're going to look at some slower guys on the day, kind of the bump day threats. You got in 30th, J.R. Hildebrand, and you're going to start to notice a trend here. And it was more with about an hour to go. All 4 of the H.A. Foyt cars were in the bottom 5, but eventually they got a couple of faster speeds. But I think all the H.A. Foyt cars were below like 25th or something. They're not anywhere near the top of the charts. They're near the bottom. So Hildebrand 30th with a 221.173. 31st, Simone de Silvestro and Peretta Autosport with a 229.11. Though I think they were up there in like 8th or 9th in the no-toe times. 32nd, Mr. Bump Day himself, James Hinchcliffe with a 220.822. 33rd, so if this was qualifying day, the last car making the field is Chilton with a 220.489. And the 2, what would have been bumped cars from the day. 34th, Sebastian Bourdais, which is a surprise to me. I'd think if it was any of the Foyt cars, it'd be Kimball or like Kellett or anyone other than Bourdais of the Foyt cars in the bump, like in like 34th, 35th. But he was 34th with a speed of 219.828, and 35th, rounding out the field as is becoming kind of a, not a tradition for him. I guess I don't want to say tradition. That sounds terrible, but like more of a habit for him is R.C. Enerson in Top Gun Racing, significantly slow, more than 2 miles an hour off the next guy at a 217.444. Ugh, not looking great for Top Gun Racing, though they were up there. I think that was about what their no-toe speed was. So mixed emotions right now if you're Top Gun Racing. There's 2 ways you can look at this. There's the like, well, we were 35th in the timing charts, but there's also the like, we were 17th or 18th on the no-toe times. I don't know if they did any quali runs or what exactly, how they used their 6 hours, though, again, they came in with like 2 hours, 2.5 hours left in practice, so I don't know. Top Gun Racing's looking like a bit of a mess right now, but they did have a no-toe time that would have gotten them in the field. Tomorrow, I'll actually be putting in more stuff about no-toe times for the like bottom 5 or 6 or whatever, because tomorrow is Fast Friday. The boost pressure for cars gets knocked up to quali level. So basically tomorrow is going to be all about qualifying. We're going to be focusing on no-toe fastest times, slowest times, probably even more than the guys like leading off the session overall. I'll probably do more than top 6 and bottom 6 on that. So that will be a very interesting thing to watch tomorrow, and we'll see how that all unfolds and how the rest of the week unfolds. That's really all I've got for now. Another thing to note, actually, that I forgot to note about the Santino Ferrucci crash, he actually had done something to his left leg. He was kind of hobbling on it. The doctor, they had came on about an hour and a half later and said he was able to bear weight on it. He said he didn't know if they're going to be able to have him back tomorrow or whatever. He just didn't know that at that point. They had taken him to Methodist for, like, x-rays or whatever to make sure he didn't break anything, but that could be a developing story. Did Santino Ferrucci break any bones? So, today, not even break any bones, but just mess up anything. So, that was today. First contact, first big contact, and a lot slower than yesterday because the temperatures were higher. Pretty interesting day, just overall. Lots more action, I guess, than the last 2 days probably combined. But that's all I've got for now. We'll come back tomorrow for Fast Friday. I'll see you all later. Bye.